Alright, everybody, welcome back. Today I will be giving my predictions for the first round of the 2019 NBA playoffs. Alright, so as I am recording this, it is halftime of game one between the Magic and the Raptors. So obviously the Nets and 76ers game one has already concluded. The Nets won 111 to 102. But I actually did try to record this video earlier and it crashed. But what's happening so far in these games, or what has happened, did not affect any of my predictions. So I'm not like cheating or anything. So let's just jump into the Eastern Conference. All right, so we have Bucks versus Pistons in the first round. So the Bucks are a little banged up. Tony Snell has an ankle injury and Mirotic has a thumb injury, but Mirotic will be ready to go. We know that for sure. But they will miss Malcolm Brogdon for, I believe, most of the series. I think the earliest he could play is Game 7, if there even is one. And then for the Pistons, Blake Griffin, he has a knee injury, and it was apparently so swollen that he could not move. So I don't know how the Pistons expect him to go from not being able to move to a contributor that will help you win a playoff series in just a couple of days. So with all that said, I believe that the Bucks will sweep the Pistons. The Pistons are just outmatched, especially with an injured Blake Griffin, so I don't think there's really too much else to go into here. I think Giannis is going to dominate. There's really no one that could guard him. And even if they tried to contain him, then it would just leave guys like Chris Middleton open. So, yeah, the Bucks will sweep the Pistons in 4 games. Next, we have the Magic versus the Raptors. And so, as I said, it is halftime right now as I record this. There are no significant injuries for each team. But let me just go over what's happened in Game 1 so far. So, the Magic are winning 57 to 49. DJ Augustine is going off. Same with Evan Fournier is playing really well. But Kawhi he was really hot to begin the game. And then the Raptors kind of just been on a drought to end the half. So, originally I had the Raptors sweeping in 4 games, and I still think that is the case. There's no injuries for either team, so it's kind of balanced there. In the regular season, they split the 4-game series that they played. I just don't think that there's any, like, if Marc Gasol is guarding Vucevic, then Vucevic will be neutralized, and Vucevic is really the Magic's only consistent contributor. Like, guys like Terrence Ross and DJ Augustine can have their moments, like Augustine obviously is right now, but they're just not the consistent offense that the Magic need to beat the Raptors. And also Kawhi plays very well in the playoffs historically. So yeah, with that said, Raptors in 4. Alright, now we're on to the Pacers versus the Celtics. In the regular season, the Celtics won the series 3-1. Al Horford is coming into the series with a ankle injury, but he is officially healthy, but you never know with big men, and so you just have to kind of keep that in the back of your head. They're going to miss Marcus Smart. He has an oblique injury, so no matter how long this series goes, he will not be able to play, and that is a huge loss for the Celtics. He's really like a glue guy for them. He gets it done on defense, and he can get it done on offense sometimes. So that's a big loss for the Celtics there. And now with the Pacers, Wes Matthews is coming off of a toe injury, but he is healthy, and obviously the Pacers, no one expected them to perform as well as they have since Oladipo got hurt, but they have been playing really well, and they've bounced back really well. However, since the All-Star break, they've gone 10-14, so they're not really coming into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. And also in the final regular season game versus the Celtics and the Pacers, the Celtics were able to exploit the Pacers' defense pretty easily. The Celtics also just have so much talent, and the Pacers, they do have that chemistry where the Celtics do not, but you just really can't bet against the talent, especially in the playoffs. This is when big-time players make big-time plays. So With that said, I do think the Celtics will win in 6 games. The Pacers will get the 2 games only because their defense, they'll be able to make adjustments. They were like one of the top defenses coming into this year, or into the playoffs. So they'll get their fair share of stops. So yeah, Celtics in 6. The final series in the Eastern Conference, we have the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Nets won in Game 1, 111 to 102. D'Angelo Russell played really well. He shot 40%. He had 26 points. Karis LeVert played really well. Spencer Dinwiddie didn't shoot very well, but he scored 18 points. And Ed Davis rebounded fantastically. He had 16 rebounds and 12 points. The Nets had 59 bench points in this game. And I do think actually Ed Davis got hurt. I think he left with an ankle injury. So that could hurt them rebounding-wise, but I don't think it'll be super significant. And then for Philadelphia, Jimmy Butler shot 50% and he got to the line 15 times. He finished with 36 points and 9 rebounds. He was really their only... Well, actually, Joel Embiid had 22 and 15. Those two were really the only consistent source of offense that really the Sixers had all game. No one else contributed. Their next highest scorer was Boban Marjanovic with 13 points. So they really need guys like Redick and Simmons and Harris to step their game up. And their bench obviously isn't super strong. You could make the argument that Brooklyn does have a stronger bench, which I probably would. So they just need the guys that they do have on the bench, like Mike Scott and obviously Boban. They need to step up in these big moments for the 76ers to be successful. However, I still have the 76ers in 6 games. The Nets obviously playing really well, but I just think the Sixers have to be able to get it together. There's no way that their star-studded lineup doesn't have any success in the playoffs. They will definitely get it done. So 76ers in 6 games. Next, we move on to the Western Conference. We have the Warriors taking on the Clippers. So Steph Curry rolled his ankle in that final regular season game, or one of those final games. So with him and his ankle injuries, you can never disregard it. Same thing with Al Horford. You kind of just have to keep it in the back of your mind. But everyone else, but he is healthy, so we just have to see. Everyone else is good to go for the Warriors. In the regular season, the Warriors went 3-1 against the Clippers. That one loss was that game where Kevin Durant and Draymond Green were yelling at each other when Draymond didn't pass the ball to him in overtime or whatever. So that is worth noting. I think the Warriors will win in 5 games. So obviously the Warriors could have one of those chemistry issues, and the Clippers are a good team, obviously, to make it this far and get to the playoffs. They do have great chemistry, so they'll definitely be able to get 1 game. I just don't think they have enough experience to get it done. They're a very young team, and even though they don't have any injuries, they just don't match up well. Like, no one really is available for them to guard DeMarcus Cousins. No one's really available to guard Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson. There's just matchup issues all around, and so I'm going to have to give the 4-1 series win to the Golden State Warriors. Next, we have the Nuggets and the Spurs, and now this could be probably the most intriguing playoff matchup in the West. The Nuggets are the less experienced team they came into the season, no one was expecting it, and they just made a huge splash, and they won a ton of games, and they finished second in the West. However, they're not experienced. Even their coach has never coached. Mike Malone has never coached in a playoff game in his career. Both teams are equally healthy, so there's a lot of people picking the Spurs just because they have Greg Popovich, who has obviously a great track record in the playoffs. However, it is worth noting that they do have DeMar DeRozan, who has historically been not very good in the playoffs. So, and I don't think this year will be any different. I think the Nuggets will win in 7 games. I do say 7 because you really can't bet against the Spurs ever. Popovich and Aldridge has been, in my opinion, probably one of the most underrated big men in the league. He just gets it done consistently. However, the Spurs aren't as deep as the Nuggets are. The Nuggets have so many good options off the bench, whereas the Spurs don't really have that to fall back on. So I'm going to go Nuggets in 7. This is probably going to be one of the most interesting Western Conference matchups. And yeah, so Nuggets in 7. Next, we move on to the Portland Trail Blazers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, obviously for the Blazers, Yusuf Nurkic was a big loss. That is really, really tragic for the Blazers. They were trying to make this push, but now they can't because they don't really have a reliable big man like Enes Kanter. He's really only good on offense. On defense, he's a huge liability. CJ McCollum, who is also another defensive liability, he came back from that knee injury and he hasn't been playing well since then. And also last year, when the Blazers played the Pelicans, Damian Lillard underperformed severely. So that is worth noting for sure. The Blazers, I just don't think they have the resources to get it done. The Thunder do have who a lot of people consider as a MVP frontrunner in Paul George, who has been dealing with a shoulder injury, and he himself didn't play super well in the playoffs last year. But I think this year is a different story, and he hasn't actually been playing super well since the All-Star break. He's been playing good, but not as well as he was before. But I still think that he'll turn it around, and him and Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams definitely outmatch just Damian Lillard and a slightly hindered CJ McCollum. So I have the Oklahoma City Thunders beating the Portland Trail Blazers in 6 games. And with the final series of the first round, we have the Utah Jazz and the Houston Rockets. Now the Jazz, which seems to be a recurring pattern, they do have a lot of guard injuries. Kyle Korver will be out for Game 1. Ricky Rubio and Raul Neto have quad and ankle injuries respectively, and they didn't practice. They didn't participate completely in their practice on Friday. But it is worth noting that Donovan Mitchell played really well in the playoffs last year. He kind of single-handedly carried the Jazz over the Thunder last year. The Jazz, they have a great defense, so they're definitely not out. However, the Rockets, they don't have any super significant injuries. Clint Capella is actually sick, but he will play. He will play in Game 1. Chris Paul has to stay healthy. That's probably one of the reasons that Houston didn't go as far as they did last year, was because Chris Paul got hurt, and so Chris Paul just has to stay healthy in order for the Rockets to have any sort of success. These two teams did split the season series in the regular season, but I just don't think that the Jazz have what it takes to get it done. And also, we forgot to talk about that guy James Harden, who has been on an absolute tear this season. Many consider him the MVP, so you can't obviously count him out in any regard. And so I have the Rockets beating the Jazz in 6 games. Alright, so that is going to be it for the first round of the playoff predictions. I want to keep doing more NBA talk videos like this, and I will obviously continue with my Bulls franchise and other 2K videos like that. But I think NBA videos could be more fun. And so, yeah, just let me know what you think. Give me your predictions. And that's it for this one, and I'm out.